Hi, this is Kathy Schrock, and this presentation, Connecting Your Classroom to the Future, will provide pedagogically sound ideas for the use of technology to support teaching and learning. Can I predict what this will look like in 10 years? Not really, but I can help you get your students prepared for whatever comes along. Either of these two URLs will get you to the Google site, which houses support documents for the presentation. I will show these again at the end of the presentation. Who can really predict what the future will hold for our students? With the globalization of economies and changes in technologies, the business world and our students' work world will probably look very different from ours. Making predictions about technology is dangerous, since oftentimes the person making the predictions is proven to be wrong. Let's look at a few historical technology predictions. In 1876, the Western Union Telegraph Company produced an internal memo that stated, "This telephone has too many shortcomings to be seriously considered as a means of communication. The device is inherently of no value to us." And in 1926, Lee De Forest, a well-respected inventor of electronics equipment, suggested, "While theoretically and technically television may be feasible, commercially and financially, it is an impossibility." Thomas Watson, chairman of IBM, stated in 1943, "I think there is a world market for maybe 5 computers." The well-read magazine Popular Mechanics wrote in 1949, "When a calculator on the ENIAC is equipped with 18,000 vacuum tubes and weighs 30 tons, computers in the future may only have 1,000 vacuum tubes and weigh only 1.5 tons. In 1977, Ken Olsen, the chairman of Digital Equipment Corporation, was heard to say, when talking about business uses of computers, there is no reason anyone would want a computer in their home. And finally this one. Clifford Stoll, a U.S. astronomer and author, when interviewed in Newsweek magazine in 1995 about reading books using a computer, stated, "The myopic glow of a clunky computer replaces the friendly pages of a book." And Nicholas Negroponte, director of the MIT Media Lab, predicts that we will soon buy books and newspapers straight over the internet. Sure. In 1967, Philco Ford released a movie entitled 1999 AD, which predicted what some of the technology advances would be in that year. Here is their prediction about online shopping, and you'll find a link to the YouTube video on the support page. So, who am I to predict what the future will look like for our students? There are a couple of thoughts I have that are not very radical, but will influence how we begin to connect our classrooms to the future. Technology will continue to get smaller, and all students will have a device. Access to the internet will be as ubiquitous as electric lights and running water. The cloud will house all the software and resources, rather than the local computer or server. Technology use will be immersive, incorporating voice, video, and text, and students will work globally with others as easily as those in their classroom. With my predictions both predictable and general, since we cannot know what we don't know, there are a few basic questions we can ask as we begin to connect our classrooms to the future. Kim Cofino, a teacher at the International School in Bangkok and a 21st century classroom specialist, frames these questions around 3 themes. How can teachers design curriculum that embeds technology in a meaningful way? What tools should the classroom technology toolbox contain? What are the management strategies to facilitate this connected classroom? Designing lessons and units to connect your classroom to the future simply involves good curriculum design processes with a little tweaking for technology. One of the most important things to remember is that technology does not drive curriculum. Curriculum drives technology. Good curriculum design and planning comes first, and then technology is embedded as it best fits. Begin with the end in mind. Lessons of any type always start with the end in mind, what students will know and be able to do as the result of the lesson or unit of study. Lessons that include a 21st century skill development are no different. One should have a clear idea of what knowledge and/or skills students should attain. In addition, this tenet, begin with the end in mind, is also a great one to mentor for students. As the project designers of the future, the skill of visualizing what the project will culminate in will be a valuable skill for our students to have. And this graphic, designed at a college conference on leadership was in session, shows a different view of the process, but the dream statement, the end in mind, is still near the beginning of the process. One of the benefits of having technology accessible in the classroom is the ability to more easily design lessons that incorporate project-based learning or challenge-based learning because of ready access to online resources. Edutopia defines project learning as a dynamic approach to teaching in which students explore real-world problems and challenges. With this type of active and engaged learning, students are inspired to obtain a deeper knowledge of the subjects they are studying. The inquiry process provides the skills students need to solve problems and make good decisions. The traditional inquiry cycle includes questioning, researching, discussing, creating, and reflecting. CAST has created an inquiry process model targeted to the Internet and includes the important information literacy skills of searching, evaluating, and citing sources. The CAST model emphasizes repeating the search and analyze step until the useful resources are located. When developing good lessons and units, it's also important to create assessments that are meaningful. According to John Mueller, authentic assessment is a form of assessment in which students are asked to perform real-world tasks that demonstrate meaningful applications of essential knowledge and skills. In addition, I also feel, in order for successful learning to occur, any assessment needs to link to and build upon prior knowledge. Technology may be used to support a formative or summative assessment, but should not become the assessment. One thing that must be stressed in the classroom and practiced is presenting to a global audience. When I was giving this presentation to an audience of teachers in Spain, I had to include ideas that cross cultures as well as use language that could easily be translated and was free of slang words. The Internet provides access to a global audience, and students need to understand how differently their work will be viewed by others. When thinking about connecting your classroom to the future, it is sometimes useful to step back and take a look at some of the educational models already available. One of the cognitive models of learning that has spawned a lot of discussion about the digital tools that can be used to support these levels is Bloom's taxonomy, originally created in 1948 by Benjamin Bloom and his colleagues. The original version of the taxonomy, on the left, focused on three major domains of learning: cognitive, affective, and psychomotor, categorized into the 6 developmental categories you see there. This taxonomy was revised in 2000 by Anderson, a student of Bloom's, and Croftball. The names of the major cognitive process categories were changed to indicate action because they felt thinking implied active engagement. The new categories are remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating has become the highest element. A teacher in Queensland, Australia, designed this well-done overview of the revised taxonomy. From the bottom up, remembering includes recognizing and naming. Understanding encompasses the skills of interpreting and explaining. Applying the information in another situation includes using and executing. Analyzing the information includes being able to organize and compare. Evaluating information requires students to check and critique. And the higher order thinking skill, creating, involves the student in the design, planning, and construction process. Now let's see what digital tools can be used to enhance and support each one of these cognitive levels. I will showcase some of the tools that should be in the technology toolbox of the classroom in order to prepare students to connect to the future. Since my prediction is that all things will soon be done in the cloud, I'm going to concentrate on the Web 2.0, online applications, and online utilities that are available today. The first column, process, represents the cognitive skill being addressed. The second column provides an example of a type of activity which targets the skill. The third column lists an online application to work on that skill. Thank you to Andrew Churches for allowing his skills and activity lists to be used. Remembering deals with finding information, storing it somehow, and then recalling it. 3 activities that target these skills are recitation, bookmarking, and basic web searching. Let's quickly look at screenshots of these applications. Diigo is a social bookmarking site that allows you to also see the links that your colleagues list. And of course, the basic things to teach students on the Google Start page are the use of quotation marks for phrase searching, no more than 10 words in a search, and to remind them that the default Boolean connector is OR in this box. For highlighting, Wordle is a tool for generating word clouds from text you provide. The clouds give greater prominence to words that appear more frequently than in the source text. Tom Barrett continues to collect, from teachers all over the world, interesting ways to use various Web 2.0 tools in the classroom. He has a slideshow for almost everything we're going to talk about, and you'll need to go to that link on the support page. Andrew Churches lists these key verbs for the remembering attribute. These are handy when writing units or lesson plans or even when creating a grant. Understanding skills have students explaining and constructing meaning using various means. 3 of the types of activities include those that involve categorizing, subscribing, and advanced internet searching. The advanced component of Diigo that is great is the ability to create Diigo lists, which allow you to organize your links and create meaningful headers for your users. Subscribing can be practiced with Google Reader, which easily allows your students to subscribe to RSS feeds from blogs and other places and see all the information in one place. I always tell teachers and students to start on the Google Advanced Search page. As well as the incredibly useful ability to conduct Boolean searches and search by file type, the option to see who links to the page you are interested in often leads to other great serendipitous discoveries. Tom Barrett has another slideshow targeting the use of search engines, both with Google and with other engines, to support teaching and learning. Andrew Churches lists these keywords for the understanding attribute. Applying is the cognitive skill set in which students use information in another similar situation using some type of project-based assessment. One tool to support the skill of illustration is Sumo Paint, a very full-featured online vector-based drawing program. Students can import their own images to mark up or simply create a new masterpiece of their own. Demonstrating their products can be done with SchoolTube. SchoolTube is a YouTube-like online video hosting site that targets schools and students. It is searchable in a number of different ways and can allow students to host their video productions. A podcast is a real-life performance. They can be created with Audacity, an open-source audio editing tool that runs locally on many computer platforms. Once a podcast is created, submitting the RSS feed to iTunes so others can subscribe is a must. There are tons of ways to use Audacity and audio in the classroom, and Tom Barrett has a slideshow about that also. Andrew Churches lists these words for applying. Analyzing includes breaking information into parts to explore understandings and relationships. In order to break down information, it has to be gathered, stored, and organized in order to accomplish that. Some tools to do so include online survey sites, graphing sites, and online databases. Gathering data is easy with a survey. SurveyMonkey is an easy-to-use survey creation tool that provides all types of question types as well as a nice reporting tool for the creator. To organize data, it needs to be available to be searched and filtered. Zoho Creator is my choice for an online database. As well as a very easy drag-and-drop interface for creating the input form, the search capabilities are very advanced. Comparing information is easiest in graphical form. Since the Google apps are no cost and are accessible online, Google Spreadsheets is a wonderful tool for students to use for gathering and manipulating data. They can also create all types of charts and save them locally too. Tom Barrett has a presentation targeting the use of Google Apps Suite in the classroom. I just included the ones highlighting spreadsheets and forms in the video that I've linked to. Andrew Churches lists these key verbs for the analyzing attribute. Evaluating involves justifying a decision or a course of action. In order to justify a decision, a student needs to read and critique others and monitor feedback, participate in online forums, and attend synchronous, virtual, face-to-face online activities. Blog commenting, becoming a member of a news group, and working with others in real time, both locally and globally, will provide students with the background they need to defend an action. Critiquing is easy to practice through blog commenting. Blogger is just one of the online blogging tools available to students. Students can create their own blogs as well as comment on their peers. Google Groups provide students with access to a threaded discussion group as they collaborate. A threaded discussion group allows the readers to see the entire path of a conversation and is invaluable when gathering data to defend a decision. I happen to be partial to the Adobe synchronous tools. Adobe Connect Now allows up to 3 collaborators, each with a mic and a camera, to share screens, share a whiteboard, text chat, and more, all in real time. For students, this is great for global networking or even just collaborating with their classmates after school. It is many-to-many versus just one-to-one. Andrew Church has listed these key verbs for the evaluating attribute. Creating is the ability to generate new ideas, create new products, or come up with new ways of doing things. Students reorganize acquired knowledge and information to create this new end result. Students can create a video locally and post it or work on it online, can create a screencast of a process or a product to share, and can use any number of online presentation tools to create an online presentation. Video is a wonderful publishing mode. JCut is a 2-line online video editor. Students can upload their videos and photos and create the movie with this online tool. The project can be downloaded when the creation is finished. Making something sometimes requires the ability to track online activity. Jing is a no-cost screencast program that easily allows students to create a how-to or any type of presentation. The item is hosted online for free, but if you want to download it, there would be a subscription cost. There are hundreds of online tools for presentation hosting. VoiceThread allows students to upload images and then auto-narrate the images to create a nice presentation. The visitors to the VoiceThread can leave text comments, audio comments, or video comments. And Tom Barrett has a presentation dealing with ways to use VoiceThread in the classroom. Andrew Church has listed these key words for the highest level creating attribute. To manage the connected classroom requires some change in teaching strategies and classroom setup, as well as attention to teaching some important lifelong skills to students. The teacher, to allow students the ability to take risks, make mistakes, and learn from them, needs to step back and become a facilitator of the creative learning process. This is not to say the teacher will not continue providing students with the information they need to move ahead, but by facilitating the learning process, this information is turned into knowledge. Once the teacher takes on the role of facilitator, the classroom truly becomes a student-centered classroom. To connect the classroom to the future and to target the higher-order thinking skills as outlined in Bloom's digital taxonomy, students need to access blinged-out pods of computers. These pods will include high-powered computers with all types of peripherals, including MIDI keyboards, scanners, digital cameras and camcorders, drawing tablets, and software for desktop publishing, brainstorming, green screens, video production software, audio equipment, and architectural and software design software. Every computer does not need to have these items, but every student needs to have access to these items when needed. Computers are a box with some wires. They may not work at times. It's important for the teacher to be flexible, adaptive, and have a backup plan for those times when technology is not working. Collaborative discussions can still take place within the classroom as well as online. Brainstorming can be done on the blackboard, and a digital picture of the creation can be taken for reviewing later. Scripts can be written by hand and typed up later. Students should never feel that technology is the only way to get things done. In order to connect your classroom to the future, you must be connected. Trying to hook 25 technology devices to a single wireless access point will lead to disastrous results. You should also always choose wired over wireless if you have a choice. In addition, you may have fiber networks in the walls, but the connection to the outside internet may be small. Then, of course, there are the streaming videos that take up as much bandwidth as they can find, thus clogging it for everyone else. Plan your networks carefully from end to end to avoid any pitfalls. The environment which allows students to connect to the future must be media-rich. Access to online and offline resources including music, photographs, images, and videos. Consider purchasing a set of royalty-free images and music appropriate for student use to eliminate the copyright issue at the start. The ability to use technology hardware and networks that allow portability really helps with the management of a classroom of technology users. Students should be able to roam from one area to any other area of the school and still stay on the network. Although there were pods of powerful computers for final production, having iPod Touches, iPads, or other tablets, or netbooks will allow students to take the technology to the point of need, outside in the courtyard, the cafeteria, their own home to interview an elderly person, etc. With ubiquitous access to hardware and the internet, students should be able to learn just in time as well as within the traditional learning process. One of the very important components of managing this 21st century classroom is teaching and practicing the skills necessary to be a good digital citizen. Digital citizenship revolves around respect for the intellectual property of others, taking care to post critiques in a way that is helpful rather than hurtful, and not participating in anything that is illegal, even though it can be done. Mike Ribble from digitalcitizenship.com defines digital citizenship as the norms of appropriate responsible behavior with regard to technology use. He created 9 themes of digital citizenship, which makes it easy to both learn and teach about each. The area of digital citizenship that I am most interested in is, and have been for a long while, is digital literacy, specifically the searching for and evaluation of information. In the past few years, my attention has been focused on mentoring respect for intellectual property. Although in school, students and teachers have some special fair use rights, I feel it's important for them to cultivate a respect for the intellectual property of others. There's a video that's linked on the site called, put together by Creative Commons, called Wanna Work Together. It was created way back in 2006 to explain about Creative Commons, and it does a good job. It takes the backwards approach, explaining what you have to do to license your own creative work, but makes it clear to respect the rights of others also. Creative Commons seeks to define the spectrum of possibilities between full copyright, all rights reserved, and the public domain, no rights reserved. The licenses allow content creators to retain their copyright while allowing certain uses of their work. This makes it easy for students to understand what and how they can use content they find without having to contact the content creator directly, and that's called some rights reserved. The Creative Commons site has aggregated all the websites that include Creative Commons licensing in one place. However, they do say to check the specific item you locate to make sure the license really does exist. You can see that popular websites, image sites, music sites, and media sites are included. But I find it easier to directly visit the site with the kind of content I am looking for and conduct the search there. Flickr's advanced search includes the option to search only within Creative Commons licensed content. It assumes all licenses will include attribution requirements, but allows the user to find things to use commercially, to adapt, or both. I did a search on iPad for content that I could edit if I wanted to in this example. And now Google Images advanced search page also allows you to search by Creative Commons licensing terms. I found this photo that I liked and checked the specific license. Here's what that license looks like. I can share the item, remix it, and I need to attribute it as the creator requires me to. I think Creative Commons is the logical place to begin the conversation about digital citizenship and respect for the intellectual property of others. One other great project on Flickr, in conjunction with the Library of Congress and other cultural institutions, is the Commons Project. This does not have anything to do with Creative Commons, but the posting of these institutions' photographic holdings that have no known copyright restriction. The goal of the project is to increase access to publicly held photography collections and to provide a way for the general public to contribute information and knowledge by their tagging of the photos. Suggest to students that for every image they utilize from the Commons, they have to search the internet and find an authoritative URL for information in any photo and add it as a tag to that photo. Again, a big part of digital citizenship is giving back to the web. Let's come back to the 3 questions I posed earlier. How can teachers design curriculum that embeds technology in a meaningful way? What should the classroom technology toolbox contain? What are the management strategies to facilitate this connected classroom? And in order to connect your classroom to the future, you have to do what you do best. Design curriculum that stretches students' intellect, stay on the sidelines when active learning is happening, and develop assessments that allow students to demonstrate knowledge and practice their 21st century skills. You need to become familiar with the many tools available online that can be meaningfully embedded in your lessons or units. And once you have the design and tools in place, you'll have to learn how to manage that messy learning which may occur and provide students with the resources needed to be successful. This is a movie that is linked on the site. It's called 100 Years of Fantastic Technology Predictions. And again, to think about the futility of making technology predictions, I want you to give that a watch. And my final prediction, this presentation is over. Here's my email address if you want to contact me. Find me on Twitter, Flickr, and Skype. That's the presentation support site. Again, linky with 2y's.com, connecting/connecting. And here are the list of the resources that I used in the presentation. Thank you for all who gave explicit permission and Creative Commons permission to use their resources. Thank you very much.